Hey, it's Cassandra from CassandraTyndall.com, and I'm coming to you today to share with you some of my tricks, tips, and insights around manifesting under the new moon in Aries. So nearly every year since way back in the beginning, I have created a new moon in Aries vision board. Now, I love the new moon in Aries. I love Aries, period. And this is a wonderful energy to create some goals, intentions, and manifestations for your upcoming year. So you might be getting to this point where you're thinking, oh, wow, it's April already, and all those New Year's resolutions that you had back in December and January have fallen by the wayside. So the cosmos is giving you a fresh start and a second opportunity to take a bite out of that gold apple and set some intentions for the year ahead by creating a vision board with the new moon in Aries. So we've just had our spring/autumn equinox where the sun moves into Aries. So that is symbolic of our astrological new year. And so the new moon in Aries kind of really peaks that season, and it really is indicative of the fresh starts and new beginnings that the Aries new moon promises. So it's a really powerful opportunity to set those goals and intentions and create some focus for the year ahead and create some direction for that. So you might be thinking, oh, but I'm not an Aries. I don't have any planets in Aries. Why should I do it now? And you don't have to. You can do it, if you're a Virgo and you'd rather do it when the new moon's in Virgo, that's okay too. However, there is a potency and a power when the astrological new year and the new moon come together this week. So I've been doing these vision boards for years, and over the years, I've kind of honed in a few tips and tricks that I feel can kind of really personalize it and help to bring in the goals, intentions, and energies into your sphere that you wish for. So I would kind of not put so much emphasis on the fact that it's the Aries new moon. It's just that's an indicative of a brand new fresh start, and you can capture that energy by making it a little bit more personalized for you. So I often do some type of workshop locally or what have you to share this these tips. However, I'm just going to do this video for you today to hopefully share some of what I've experienced with the new moon in Aries with more people. So back in the day, I started with Jan Spiller's New Moon Astrology. So it's very great if you are in the very early stages of your astrological learning, or maybe you don't know much at all. This is a great book to get started and set some of perhaps the templates or the beginnings, if you like, of developing your practice with new moon wishing or intentions, or starting to kind of grease the wheels of some forms of astrological magic in a way. So what I would start with is start thinking with, okay, excuse me, what do I want for the next year? Where would I like to be 12 months from now? Or what would I like to be at the end of March of 2020 and think I would like to have no longer be a problem in my life? So it could be earning more money, paying off debt, traveling to certain places, maybe getting fit and losing weight. Maybe it's reading more. Maybe it's growing some of your own vegetables, for example. It could be anything at all. So it's totally, totally limitless. So you don't have to look to the Aries house in your birth chart to get this inspiration to get the wheels of creativity turning. It's just the overall energy that we are working under. So for me, I kind of double like the Aries new moon because it happens to fall in my 11th house, which is the luckiest house of the birth chart. So if you do have Gemini rising, you will have that too. So that just makes it a little bit more lucky or special for us. So one of the advantages of having a Gemini rising, I guess. So I'm just going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to start explaining how we can personalize this a little more. So this is the Perfections worksheet. So what you'll see here is just a whole circle of numbers. So if you've not ever come across Perfections before, these are what they are. So basically certain ages of your life correlate to certain houses of the year. So you might have a look at this wheel and you'll be like, yeah, I'm 39, 4th house year. Yay, I'm 44, 9th house year, so on and so on. And this is where I start to get the building blocks of my own personal vision board, is I look at the age that I am either moving into or just turned. So this is the thing when we start using Perfections, you've got to think about which way you might like to angle this. So the new moon in Aries usually happens in April, sometimes in March. If your birthday is, say, for example, happened in November last year, you might choose to, it would be wise to choose the perfection year you are currently in. Even though you're already a few months into it, and by the time you do your next vision board in April, you'll be a few months out of it, the theory is that you will be in that perfection predominantly this year. Myself, for example, my birthday isn't until June. However, even though I'm not in my next perfection yet, it is the vision board I'll be creating this week, because I will be in that perfection longer than if I did the current one that I'm in, if that makes sense. So if your birthday is in September, when you're September, October, when you're in that halfway marker, that is your call, what you would choose to do. I would probably do the perfection you are in currently, okay? But that's up to you. You can experiment with that and find out what works best for you. So take note of what age you're at and which house you are in. So then the next step is to look at your birth chart. So let's say you're in a 2nd house year and the planetary ruler of that 2nd house year might be Saturn, it might be the moon, it might be Mercury. And so we start to kind of build a little bit of a theme or a picture here around what you can do. So vision boards can be digital, or they can be old school, cutting out pictures of paper and sticking them on that project cardboard, which is what I personally like to do. So if you're in a living situation where perhaps you might want to keep your vision board more private, or you share a house with people who are not into astrology, for example, you might want to choose to do a digital one, which can be a little bit more private. You can put it as a screensaver on your phone or your computer or whatever, or you can even create a real one and create a picture, or take a picture and put that in your wallpapers, etc. So there are different ways that you can kind of harness the power of the manifesting with a vision board. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, I'm currently when I did my vision board April last year, I was about to enter a 6th house perfection year. So that's the current vision board that I've got. And so my 6th house is Scorpio, therefore it is Mars. So I'm just going to show you a quick view of what my vision board is, just the usual for me, places I want to go and things I want to do, etc. Some people have asked, is that me? No, it's not. But it was just put there to kind of remind me of some of my goals in my sport. So as I said, I was in I'm still in a 6th house Mars perfection year. So I've got the glyph of Mars there, prime and center of my board. If it's the moon for you, you might like to have the moon, Saturn, whatever planet you have as the lord of your year. I chose a deep blue navy kind of board, only for the fact that where I bought the board from didn't have the color I really wanted for Scorpio. I wanted sort of like a really deep emerald kind of green. Couldn't get it. So this would suffice. I am moving into a Jupiter perfection in June. So of course I'll have, Jupiter there. I'll probably have a picture of Chris Hemsworth, you know, because Thor, you know, and I might, I don't know, I might just have a beautiful Jupiter white background this year. I might go for a gold or a royal blue. If you've got a moon year, you might choose to, have a white or a silvery grey. If you're a Venus year, you might choose to have a green or possibly even a pink. Mars, red. Saturn, you might go for a black or a brown, etc., etc. Sun, gold, yellow, maybe possibly even a saffrony colour. So that's how I bring in the energy of the perfection year. You might even want to go further with the themes of that house topic if you want. You know, I didn't put any pictures of, actually I did have some goats in there, anything smaller than a goat. So I do have a few goats in there, but that wasn't the reason why they're there. But anything that takes your fancy. It doesn't, the goals you have might have nothing to do with the house perfection that you're in, but you're bringing in that, whether it's Mars or Venus or Jupiter, you're bringing in that energy into your goals because that is the planetary ruler that's really at the helm of your year. So that's just something I've kind of perfected and done over the years to kind of personalize the planet and the energy that I'm experiencing in that current year. So I hang my vision board in my kitchen. So I go in there, I get my first cup of coffee very soon after waking up, and I see it normally every day. And so I see that glyph of Mars, and it reminds me of focus. It reminds me of drive. It reminds me of all these things that I've put on my board. So I've got that visual reminder constantly. Of course, after a while, I get used to seeing it there all the time, so I kind of stop looking at it. But sometimes I'll look at it and I'll go, oh, I've achieved that. I've done that. It happened. And sometimes this is the thing when we ask for things energetically through new moon wishing, through planetary magic, through whatever means that you choose to use, is that we might ask for something, but what we can't always determine or control how we get it or what form it takes. So that's something to keep in mind, that that happens too. But there are a lot of, I'm just going to say, it's just so powerful. It's just so awesome. And I'm just looking at my board now, kind of going tick, tick, tick in my mind. So I'm really looking forward to doing my Jupiter board. I have a very prominent Jupiter in my birth chart, and Jupiter is in very good condition through the majority of my perfected, or almost half of my perfected year. So good times. So whatever your perfection year is, if you do need some help or guidance in working out what that is, please feel free to contact me and I can help you work that out. So the details, the Virgo stuff. Okay, so the new moon is in Aries at about 15, 16 degrees this Friday, the 5th of April. So for Brisbane, I think it's at 10 to 7 p.m. And it will be 10 to 8 for the southern states. I'm not sure if you guys have ended daylight savings yet, or if you have. New York is the east coast of the US, Canada. It's 10 to 5 in the morning. London and parts of Europe, adjust your time zone accordingly. It is 10 to 10 in the morning, 9:15. So this is one of the little rules or tips and tricks around the new moon intentions, is that you can build your board now if you wish. You've got to kind of take in the practicalities of time and every day. Build your board now, maybe over the weekend or when you have time. You can consecrate it when you hang it or take a photo of it or put it in your screensavers. It's the new moon in Aries. I often light an excess of candles. I bring in that fire. I bring in that energy. I might have some kind of warming spices or warming herbs around to warm things up. If you are in a Mercury profection, for example, you might choose peppermint or rosemary, things to kind of like open up the mind. So you can dig as deep as you like. You can, if you're a moon perfection, bring some white foods out, or a moonstone crystal, or whatever it is you've got. Just make do with what you have. You can go old school and cut out pictures of magazines. I just Google image and print because I don't buy magazines anymore. So on or slightly after, usually within 8 hours, is recommended to hang your board or initiate your board into your sphere in some way. So usually that's hanging it, lighting your candles, or creating your little ritual around that. I also actually write things down. So I have a new moon wishing book, and I might be like, okay, I wish to easily bring in maybe my income goals or my travel goals, or whatever goals that I have for the year, and whatever goals that you have. Ask the universe for that. Give thanks and recognition for what where you're already at, and what you've already maybe achieved in that. Okay, I've reached this certain goal, but I would like something else. So Friday night is, so at least in Australia, this new moon happens on the Friday night, which is the night of Mars. So this is an awesome new moon for the energy of Mars, which is the ruler of Aries. Mars has just changed signs into Gemini, which forms a sextile to the sign of Aries. So it's more supportive of what Aries is trying to do. Gemini is upbeat, it's action orientated, it's air. Aries is fire, so there's that sense of action, movement, progress, and momentum. So this is a great new moon. If you can, even if you can't do it on the night of Mars, when you're starting to move out of that 8-hour window of new moon energy. So if you're on the east coast of the US, for example, 8 hours later is not going to be the night of Mars. But if you can, maybe do it on the hour of Mars. Maybe do it even better still on the hour of your perfected year. So within that 8-hour new moon window, if you are in a Saturn year, in a Saturn perfection, for example, do it on the hour of Saturn. And that's how we can really personalize it, even if you're not really clued in or tuned in so much to that pure Aries energy. So that's kind of how I've done my vision boards for a long time now. Perfections, planetary hours, and bringing in as much of the element of the theme of the planetary energies in play. So I really do hope that that's given you some inspiration and insight around how you can make the most of this annual new moon in Aries and really kickstart your goals and your desires for the year ahead. I would absolutely love to see some pictures of your vision boards. So if you are posting them on social media, please tag me. I would love to see them. My social media is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or you can even email them to me if you don't want them to be public. But I would love to see it. I'd love to see your or hear your story behind it. What is your perfected year, and what do you want to get out of the year? So share the love. And I would really love to, as I said, see those boards. And I really do sincerely wish you all the best with this. Experiment with it, see what happens, and I really do hope that this becomes an annual thing for you. So if you would like to find out more about the Aries new moon and the year ahead, I do have my 2019 horoscope ebook is still available on my website. My April horoscopes, which will include new moon stuff, will be on my website today. The Water Trio podcast, of course, we talk about the Aries new moon and the ingress of Mars in Gemini. on this week's podcast, which is on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And I am going to continue my half-price consultations through Venus's tour of Pisces. So I do try and do some kind of fat discount when planets move through Pisces. So that's going to continue until Venus winds up her tour of Pisces and gets into Aries. So if you're wanting any more information about all of that stuff, it's all on the website at cassandratyndall.com. And I wish you a wonderful new moon in Aries and a great start to your astrological new year. Bye for now.